Unbiased Trading here, and today we're going to be going over how poker tactics can work in trading. I apologize for my raspy voice, or I am a bit ill currently, so it's not going to be amazing audio quality for you guys. But I think the video we have today is really good content, and I'll take you through it. So, why poker and trading are talked about? They are both based on probabilities, both require money management, both can be affected by psychology, both are seen as gambling or can be gambling, and making optimal decisions with not all info available. These are some key links between poker and trading, and why a lot of people do try and apply theories that work on poker to trading. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Some are fundamentally flawed, like the martingale strategy. That's a topic for another video, but that's just fundamentally flawed in both really poker and trading. So why I started playing poker. Currently, I don't play poker for any real money. It is all just fun and games and just learning. Sorry. So it's a fun side activity to do with friends. It can be easier to see your psychology tendencies than in trading. There is an optimal game theory way to play and can pass the time when you're waiting for trades or you're currently on like a timeout because you can't take a trade for like 5 minutes or something. I think these are all really good reasons why you should try and look into poker if you are taking trading seriously. I definitely agree that it's very easy to see your psychology in poker rather than in trading, because in poker if you're playing a game theory method, there is a way to play. There is only one way to play if you are playing game theory. Obviously, it can be a lot more complex than that, and you can get edge if you see your opponent is having an emotional response. But if you're just playing online for free and there's no money like on the table, then it's just a lot easier to see how you do react sometimes to possible scenarios. So this is the strength charts. This is the main idea I'm going to be going over today. I'm going to tell you what they are, how it could relate to your trading, and how maybe you could include them in your trading. So how strength charts translate to trading. A strength chart shows you if your starting hand has good odds or bad odds, and then it splits it into if you should fold, check, or play any size on that hand. You can see on the right, this is what it looks like. So this is for pair and suited cards, and then unsuited cards. Green represents you should just fold your starting hand. So if someone calls or anything, just fold straight away. Don't even try. If you have a late position on the table, then that's in blue, and you could maybe hold it until if you are in a late position. If you're mid to late, then that is yellow, and red is any position, and you can pretty much call and check as much as possible. This is such a valuable lesson to take for your trading. Do you know what setups have the better odds and what makes your setup a hand to fold? This is the key thing in poker, which makes it easier to see, is once you have your hand in poker, you can clearly see if you look at this chart, oh, okay, right now I'm holding Jack and 2. I look on the chart, and if it's unsuited, then it's a hand to fold. What about if it's suited? It's still a hand to fold. So I know I won't be willing to risk a good amount of my betting size on this hand. Maybe I'll check and see if I could get a pair or a 2-pair possibly if I'm lucky, but I wouldn't call or raise. But yeah. Now, this is just strength charts continued. Poker allows to see this idea to be demonstrated very easily, as there are statistical odds which can be understood a lot easier than in trading, as trading has more variables. This does depend on your setup, but poker is all the same game. Everyone's playing the same game. So if you are all playing game theory, you should all technically know all the odds. Obviously, that's very difficult to do when you're trading with, when you're playing with real money. But if you are just playing without money, game theory should be the optimal way for you to play, unless you notice something in your opponent. Secondly, the odds can be demonstrated clearly, and you know what hand you're holding. In trading, your hand might not be so clear. So if you have, for example, like a complex setup, and it's not just based around how high your gap percentage is, right? It's not as easy to see if you're holding, are you holding an ace-ace? Or are you holding actually a queen ace and your odds are slightly not as good, but they're still up there? It's a lot harder to do that in trading, in my opinion. If you know how to do that, then you could definitely create a strength chart for your setup. But this is something to think about. How can you distinguish your setup, and when would you know when to fold, and when would you know that this is only one that you place maybe 10% of your sizing on? Can this be applied directly to trading? I think so, but it does depend on how discretionary your setup is. If your setup is fully discretionary, then you don't have any statistical like odds behind that. So I would think it's very difficult to make a strength chart of your trading. However, if your whole setup is almost algorithmic, then it should be possible to create a strength chart so that you know this particular setup has this odds and I know I can maybe add this much size, but I shouldn't add any more size than that because it just isn't statistically viable. Whereas you could have a really good one and then you would apply a lot. Thank you for viewing, and I sincerely hope you gained some knowledge or had food for thought. Definitely look into poker if you are looking for a side hobby. I wouldn't recommend putting real money on it unless you have some spare, but it definitely is interesting and it does translate to trading somewhat well.